Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and welcome back to the clown show that is the Call of Duty League. Last night, the CDL revealed their first official rule set and map set for the 2023 season, and it did not go down particularly well. They were bullied within about 3 hours or so into changing the map set to what the pros actually want it to be. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thanks very much indeed for doing that one. Plenty to dive into today. Honestly, it's craziness that happens in this COD League. You can't make this stuff up. Firstly, this is a parody account, just before you guys go crazy in the comments. Even though on occasion this account does tweet some reputable stuff, I highly doubt that Stonehaven from Ghost is actually making a return as a fan favourite map. I believe there's been some leaks going around of what the Season 1 maps are going to be, and it's not looking good for us. I think it's going to be Shipment, as it always is. I think, what's it called? Shoot House, I think, from COD Force coming back. Then there's some map which is like a ship or like a tanker that's half sinking, so that's not going to work for competitive. There's another map, some like oil refinery thing. Almost gives me like Quarry vibes from Modern Warfare 2. But look, none of the maps that are coming in Season 1 that are currently rumoured are going to be viable for competitive. This isn't one of them, thankfully, but still. I mean, look, if they want to bring back a Ghosts map, bring back like a, you know, a Warhawk, right? That would be fantastic, or a Freight or something good. But hopefully they can bring some more maps, because we're going to need them, especially if the rumours that Dashy said that Hotel is gone after Major 1 is true, because Hotel is carrying this map pool right now, and it almost wasn't in the map set entirely, as we'll see over the coming minutes. Firstly, just to mention here, because Hitch was absolutely fuming, and understandably so, in his tournament last night, the $60,000 tourney, the poor guy activates Dead Silence in this corner, and Crimsix just gets the massive beeping noise in his ear, hears him there, turns around, gets the kill. I mean, yeah, poor Hitch, man. Dead Silence gets you killed, honestly, more often than it actually gets you kills, it feels like at times. And just to say fair play to Methodz, he clutched 2-1 versus Force last night in this tournament. This is the aBeZy Search and Destroy, which the pros at the moment generally don't seem to mind too much. It seems one of the better Search and Destroy maps. I don't believe in the initial map set last night it was actually there. Instead, they put Farm 18 in there for some reason, and he gets the final kill here on Santana as well to finish off the 1 versus 4 for the 6-5 round 11 clutch. Not a bad performance there from Zinni, but it was none other than Team Scrappy, with Symphony, Scrappy, Mutex, Slackton, and Blake, of course, that actually won this tournament. Scrappy is just inevitable right now. This guy was streaming this tournament to like 5,000 viewers, talking trash. Like, honestly, I can't wait for this guy to be in the league. It's going to be a really entertaining affair. Like, look, he's got the personality to back it up as well, and he's got the gun skill to match. So it's going to be exciting. This guy is just out of control lately. I just thought I'd mention this before we talk about the map set, because Slasher was hinting about it earlier in the day. Yo, everyone watching scrims today, pay attention to this new and improved map set. So we'll see about this reply in a second. But obviously they'd got word as to what the CDL rule set and map set was going to be, and what they'd heard wasn't particularly pleasing. And we saw some other comments on this over, from Jacob, let's say, over the Los Angeles Thieves side, right? So as Crone replies with the Breenberg Hotel here, because this is the Conservatorium Hotel in Amsterdam. I've talked about it a few times at this point, but I mean, yeah, I'm sure this hotel isn't so happy that the hotel's been blown up and, you know, cruise missiles are raining down from above when their hotel lobby is just identical to what we see in the actual game. So yeah, people were mind blown at this. I shared images like this a few days ago as well. We talked about it initially, that the map set was going to be chalked up, and even this from Crone, I mean, this is the museum map, which is already gone. So I'm always a bit confused about this whole hotel situation, just because clearly hotel is just a real life location, as is museum. Museum was to such an extent the museum wasn't happy about it. They removed it from the game between the beta and the full release. Crown Raceway and the hotel map are still there in the game, and the pros have clearly been told that Crown Raceway, that's not going to be played, but hotel apparently might still be. Dashy reckoned it will be played until Major 1, but I don't understand that if it is played until Major 1, why can't we play it forever? Like, surely if there's a lawsuit ongoing which means that the hotel map isn't going to be played and can't be played on the CDL broadcast, then why is it fine until December, and then in January it's all of a sudden a no-go zone? So hopefully it can stay around forever, because I think it hard carries this map pool, to be perfectly honest. Now, a Hydro is the other question mark, because with maps disappearing, we needed another map to come through, and this Zarqua Hydroelectric map has been the one that the pros have gravitated towards. It's not great for a competitive perspective. It looks okay, and some of the hard points are actually pretty good, but the water is all over the place. You can flank the entire map in the water lane. It's like an absolute disaster from a competitive perspective in that sense, but the pros are still playing it, and OpTic are obviously not happy about this map. Well, Rambo certainly isn't. Really hope Hydro doesn't make it into the map pool. Watching two people dive into the water to flank on the entire map on opposite sides during rotation is definitely not it. It's not a necessity to have 5 maps in each mode. Let's play what works well, and potentially add a map map with DLC if it plays well. Of course, last year in Vanguard, we only had 4 maps in Hardpoint. It was a very thin on the ground map pool. This year, the map pool technically is larger, but, you know, honestly, like, do these maps play better than Backlash did? I'm not really sure, to be honest. So, like, if we had the museum map maybe for some game modes, if we had Crown Raceway, I think the map set would be okay. But as it stands, it's not looking particularly good. So last night, the CDL officially confirms rule set version 1.0, and you would think the version 1.0 would be out for a good, you know, few days or a week maybe before version 1.1 comes out. Version 1.1 was released about 3 hours later. So they confirm these were the maps last night: Fortress, Embassy, Mikado, Hydroelectric. So first of all, no hotel obviously was the key point here. We heard the rumors that it was going to be gone. I didn't expect it to be gone immediately, but turns out the CDL obviously think that, yeah, they don't want to play that map on broadcast because it's a copy and paste of a real life location. Vintage stuff. Well, it's not really vintage stuff. They haven't done this before. It's a new way for Infinity Wards to screw over competitive. Congratulations to Secret on the Gentleman, and hopefully it can stay for longer. We'll see in a second it comes back because all the pros complain. Honestly, craziness that happens in this league. So yeah, these are the hardpoint maps. Some of these play okay, some of these don't. The Hydro map is causing some complaints, but look, you need at least 4 hardpoint maps. You can't have 3 because you know, you've got to have 2 in a series. So how does it work for vetoes? 4 is the absolute bare minimum. 5 is, I think, probably the ideal. aBeZy actually did make it into the search and destroy locations. A fair play on that front, but Farm 18 also made it in, and we were like, hang on a second, Farm was this beta map that the pros thought, you know, maybe it can work, maybe it can't, and then they realized relatively quickly it doesn't work for competitive. For some reason, it was here in the search and destroy rotation. People were like, what's going on? Why? And then Control was the crazy one to me, because Embassy Control was not even a map the pros plays. I don't think I've ever seen this map scrimmed. Maybe they tried it one time, realized it was terrible, and chalked it up. But like, this is not the maps that they play in Control. So why was Embassy even here in the first place? I don't understand who makes these calls to put this in, because like Embassy, I don't think was ever really played. It was never a map that was trialed, and it obviously plays terribly. Even as Attach says here, what's wrong with the maps and modes that Accuracy and Slasher picked? And immediately the backlash was coming in thick and fast from the pros, even before this was confirmed, and certainly after it was confirmed. And even as Crone says, right, I wonder why these maps aren't in the map pool, because, you know, they've just copied and pasted some real life locations, as you guys can see on screen. So unfortunate stuff, of course, this being the Crown Raceway map as well here in Singapore. So the map set's not looking particularly good. And it wasn't just the map set that was getting people annoyed, it's the other parts of this rule set as well, because we know that there is some workaround for the red dots on the minimap. If you get the UAV to sweep in certain ways, or the red dots on the minimap to sweep, then, you know, with Ghost or whatever, you can make it work. But the CDL has not tried to do any of that. They've just said UAV only, pings on the minimap, and of course, UAVs are banned, so there are no weapon pings on the minimap. We are not getting any red dots this year based on this current rule set. And we'll speak later today on whether red dots could potentially return at some point, but yeah, the pros not at all happy with this one. And this is the Embassy map that we were just discussing here. So Cruz kind of says, well, look, if it's in the map set, we've got to play it. The pros were like, obviously they were annoyed about this, but they weren't, it wasn't an absolute disaster for the pros, because their first game is in about 3 or 4 weeks time. Whereas for the amateur players, it's this weekend where the first cup is, right? A cup in 4 days, as Cruz mentions. So the rule set has to be correct for these guys. And as he says, well, they were like, okay, well, Embassy Control's in the game. I guess we've got to practice it because we've never really played it before. They spawn into this, and as he says, no one asked for Embassy Control to be in the league or in the cups. We have a cup in 4 days. Something's got to be done. And I mean, look at this just for example here. So the poor red team is trying to capture a point, and the blue team is, I guess, the defenders. And look at this just unbelievable spawn trap here. Like, the red team cannot move at all. They've just got number 4, number 3 locking down the sight lines. They spawn right into the line of sight. Like, number 8 spawned in and died immediately. Number 7 spawned in and died immediately. Like, there is just no way out of this spawn trap clearly on this control map. So obviously this map doesn't work. It's clearly not viable, but yet for some reason they added it into the map set. And you know, even as Cruz says, it's an actual joke. Do they just add this for a laugh? Absolutely disgusting. We're playing the meme maps. So clearly a complete disaster. And after all this backlash from the pros and the amateurs, about 3 hours later, they updated the map set, as they say the following: updated map set, and added armor piercing to attachment restrictions as well. So they restricted a fair few things, you know, all the settings restricted, this type of stuff, as they usually do. But the map set was a large part of this. And again, they messed it up until they have now fixed it. And as Spinner Spin says here, sorry, I fell asleep on my keyboard after staying up too late playing GBs and uploaded the wrong ones earlier. So I guess he's just joking around here, because I mean, yeah, the backlash was immense. They changed the situation, and now this is the map set that we now have. So Greenberg Hotel is now back in, and a couple of other tweaks. But I mean, yeah, so for Search and Destroy, Farm 18 is gone, and it's a Fortress, Hotel, aBeZy, Embassy, and Mikado. Similar map set for Hardpoint, but with the Hydroelectric map there instead of aBeZy. And now Control Control has Fortress, Hotel, and aBeZy as well, so Embassy's now disappeared. I'm like, did they just make a mistake? Did they try and put Fortress in instead of aBeZy? Did they get the communication with the pros wrong? Like, how do you possibly mess this up? But still, at least, I guess we've got to take the positives. They've somehow managed to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, and like, usually they do it the other way around. And the big news, of course, really being that Hotel is actually back in the rotation for all the game modes. So this is what I don't understand. If it was removed in the first place, surely the reason why it wasn't getting played was not because the CDL didn't know that Hotel was playable. Obviously, that's all the pros play, and is probably the favourite map by most of the pros right now for most of the game modes. Certainly, I think iLLeY even said that Control on Hotel actually plays pretty well, which is a remarkable scenes for Control to actually play well in an Infinity Ward game, but maybe it does, and Hotel it might be good on. So obviously they knew that was the go-to map. They didn't put it in the initial rule set, surely only because they believe it's going to not be playable in the CDL because, you know, the legal troubles they're having with that Hotel, all this type of drama. I guess that's the reason why they removed it, but now it's back in. So I'm like, well, what's going on here? And if it is going to get removed at some point in the future, why is it magically playable at the moment, right? If it's playable for Major 1, why can't it be playable for Major 2, 3, 4, 5, and Champs and beyond, right? So I don't really understand what's going on there, how they managed to make this mistake in the first place. But anyway, I guess we've got to take the positives when they arrive. Hotel is in for now for Major 1, hopefully at the very least, because if it gets removed in rule set 1.2 in about 24 hours time, I wouldn't really put it past the CDL if they get some word in their ear from behind the scenes. But look, still, we've got to take the positives. Occasionally they happen, and hopefully by the time Hotel is removed, we might actually get some additional things to add into the rule set. But yeah, I guess the backlash from the pros managed to work, as Slasher says here, they saw my tweet and switched up Slasher World League. So crazy stuff. I don't understand how, like, this seems to happen every year, no? Like every start of the season, they get something wrong in the map set or the rule set, and they don't check with the pros, they don't check with the amateurs, and they just release it, and then it's like, oh, we made a mistake, we got to change it a few hours later. I don't understand that this is such a consistent trend, but at least there is some dialogue there with the pros, and they actually do listen and take feedback on board, and thankfully Hotel is still playable at the very least for now, and the pros pretty much realize that it's still going to be played. For some reason last night, Vegas versus New York were not actually playing Hotel. Maybe they thought it was gone, but they were still playing Hydro. They were playing the control maps that you know, we discussed before, the aBeZy, Fortress, Hydro. I don't know if Hydro control is in the rule set. I'm pretty sure it's not. I think it's Hotel instead. They at least gave it a go. Vegas went down 4-3 here to New York. We've been looking pretty good so far, to be honest. And then Vegas versus FaZe, they beat FaZe. They win all the hard points here and lose all the controls. So yeah, again, they didn't play Hotel here. They played the same map set in this one that we saw up against New York. So wonder if they thought at the time that Hotel was gone. So I guess there's no point playing it, and now it's back again. So I guess they missed a day of practice on Hotel thanks to all the antics of the Call of Duty League. But interesting results, I thought, really. The fact that Vegas beat FaZe in all of the hard points, very close hard points in fairness, and then lost the controls. FaZe have been that dominant control team really the last couple of years. Certainly in Cold War that was the case. And but yeah, Vegas looking good on hard points is pretty interesting to see as well, nonetheless. So very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. This is the Hydro map as well. I thought was pretty hilarious. The Envoy was going on this flank here, so as you guys can see, it's coming down to the wire. He's spectating some 8s lobbies, and he goes Envoy in the water all the way along the flank. So, you know, this guy under the bridge, Frosty gets cut down mid-map, and Envoy just goes on this long flank because this is effectively the meta here on this map. He goes all the way around, trying to flank with his teammates, and, you know, hops up on the ledge here and just immediately gets shut down, I think, by Standy or someone in the hard points. Yeah, the poor guy jumps up, immediately is taken down by Frosty, and that's it, and that's GG for the game. But yeah, this map is trolly as hell, no doubt. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, take care, and I'll see you next time.